Hi, this is Kirk Davis with the Center for Advanced Manufacturing Puget Sound camps, and I'm here with Adam Livesay with Elevate, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
Hey, camps is a community of manufacturers, and we work together, we collaborate. We want to thank you for being a member of camps and all that that means, and of course, we look forward to a long and profitable relationship with Elevate. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We love everything that Camps does. We love the programs and the outreach in the community. So it's been a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, what's been fun for us as camps is we're trying to collaborate with the manufacturing members, but also give them information that's on the leading edge. And I think that's the nature of our conversation today. What you're doing is on the leading edge. So
Absolutely.
so tell me just a little bit about you personally, and how did you get to this place?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the fluid power and technology industry for 15 years now, I would say. And previously to Elevate, I worked inside a company that's also a member of Camps, Western Integrated Technologies.
Yes.
And so I did everything in there from in college doing warehousing, manufacturing to field service, engineering, business development. And the last role was for a number of years, I ran our electronic controls division.
Mm,
And what we started to see was a real acceleration in putting more technology and automation on heavy machinery.
okay.
And then we had customers asking about technology and advancements and what we call now IoT. And that
Mm.
led to the incubation of Elevate and the rest of the
Ah.
industry. Yeah.
So Bill Hill owns Western Integrated Technologies and Elevate, and you work with him. He's a great guy, and he serves on the board of camps. And so,
Fantastic.
shout
Yep.
out to Bill. But so this idea began because of conversations you were having with customers.
Yeah, for sure. So we would be designing control systems, automation systems for heavy machinery, primarily OEMs, the machine builders.
Yeah.
And they would come to us and they'd say, hey, you guys are putting sensors and controls and cameras and everything on our machines, and they're out there in the field. Can we start to get that information back to our businesses
Ah,
so we can drive different outcomes, right? And this was
interesting.
really around service and repair and warranty and stuff, right?
Wow.
So from an integrator's perspective, we were like, yeah, no problem. The problem was there wasn't really technology that was built for this space for people with our technical capabilities, right? We don't write software code.
Right.
We know how pumps works and valves works and machines work and all that stuff, but we don't know how to write any of the software language.
Oh.
So that was a major gap, and we went out, we built some prototypes, and we're like, okay, this is kind of becoming a bigger deal. Let's
Okay.
go talk to our peers in the community. So Bill and I took a road trip back to the Midwest. We met with peers of Western Integrated Technologies, other distributors and integrators. They all have the same use case. They had the same need, and from there we went out and we landed our first major customer, and then we've been building distribution and OEM channels since then.
My goodness. So this has evolved. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gotten better and it's evolved, but how do you explain what Elevate offers today?
Yeah, for sure. So Elevate offers software that's easily deployable on heavy machinery. It gets the machines connected to the cloud. We get that raw machine data, pump it up into Elevate, turn that into human readable information, and we help them drive really these very specific turnkey solutions, which are, how are my machines perform in the field? So what's their productivity and utilization? What's the repair and maintenance on my machine, and how can I do that more intelligently? So we give them virtual access to their machine to be able
Mm,
to dial into it and look at sensors and settings and configurations. Um, then we have a warranty piece, tying various aspects of the machine if it's being operated in outside warranty conditions. And then our last piece is really about helping them capture more parts and service business.
wow.
So if they can tell how the machines are being operated in the field, what the wear and tear of them are, what the utilization is, we can really help them sell more parts and services that the OEMs weren't necessarily capturing before.
What's this like for them to get this information? What have they said to you in terms of, wow, I didn't know, we could have this
Yeah.
kind of information. That must be a little bit overwhelming, I would imagine.
For sure. So, so it's funny because whatever we start with initially in a pilot is not what it turns into when we go into production. Customers always want more information,
Oh,
which was great at the beginning. But what we've really done is we really helped keep them narrowed in the scope. And we say, let's
okay.
not focus on big data. Let's focus on smart data. Let's
Ah,
really dial in there and
I
say,
like that.
what are the things we're trying to drive, right? Because we are basically competing with an Excel spreadsheet or a
Hmm.
paper,
Oh,
board,
I've seen this. Yeah.
right? That's what we're competing with. So if we can start to get that data back in an automated way where they don't have to touch it, they get accurate information, less human error, easier, faster, you name it, that can just move that value needle just a little bit and it can provide tremendous ROI.
My goodness. So of course, a lot of this information, I'm guessing, is real time.
A lot of it is real time. Yeah. So we have historical data. We do some interesting things on the machine if we want to, where it says don't send us this information unless a problem's occurred.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Customers that can be looking at a tremendous amount of data, but they don't
Yeah.
need all to hit the cloud.
Yeah.
Right. We just need to go back and look at it later. But then we do have real time data where they want to see process data, production data, stuff like that, and that's coming out, every sub-second, or it's being at least captured every sub-second and transmitted every 5 seconds or something.
Now, here's something I don't understand,
Yeah.
but almost every company has a different software application. They're operating on different platforms.
Yep.
So how are you addressing that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what we have done is we have two solutions, right? So we have a solution for the SMB manufacturer.
Yeah.
Really, the companies that operate maybe $200 million less a year in revenue is kind of that segment. And this is a turnkey cloud solution, just like if I have my Microsoft 360 or my Salesforce, right? I just log in, it's run on the cloud, I get everything and it works. I don't really care what's powering behind it.
That's right.
Then we have an enterprise solution for larger companies that say, I have a really strong contract with Microsoft. This contract with Microsoft, I would like you to deploy your cloud services on my cloud subscription with Microsoft because I want to own all the IT support. I want to own all the GDPR support. So in the old day, we called that on-prem because the servers and computers are actually in companies' buildings.
Yes.
This is deploying the Elevate solutions on their own public-private cloud.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's been one of our biggest growth areas in the last year is how many of these really large Fortune 1000 industrial companies are saying, we love that you guys are solving these business problems, but we need to own everything around that in terms of the data going in and out, the GDPR, the security.
Oh,
Can
wow.
you deploy on our service? So obviously with that, there's some professional services and engineering to make it work. On the turnkey solution, we did approach it. It's interesting. We approached it from Bill's company, Western Integrated Technologies, where we're an integrator. We integrated sensors and controls and everything. That's a major value add that WIT does. And the way we approached it from the software perspective is we never envisioned us to be the full solution that solved everyone's problems. So we've made it very easy for other software programs to interface with our APIs and move that data and that information around.
See, that answered a major question that I had, and I've been learning about APIs, so that was something that was new to me.
Yeah.
But with the APIs, you're able then to bridge that communication gap between different software platforms. And
absolutely. And, it was great because, Bill, when we started going down this path, Bill made it really one of his big, initiatives where for our own sake, we can't be pigeonholed into something.
Yeah.
We have to be able to plug and play. And by his vision of that coming from the fluid power mechanical world, of being able to move stuff in and out and flex it and configure it, really helped us when we started to design the system 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we were at the cutting edge of a full API system, which is it's been tremendous for us long term for how we're deploying now.
Oh my goodness. Now, I have more technical questions I'm going to ask you, but I wanted to switch over to a business question. And that is, I'm sure you've, as you were developing the business concept, how did you decide to charge for this? And, kind of getting right into is it subscription or a one-time charge? What are you doing?
Yeah. So it's a SaaS subscription charge. So we typically charge per asset that's connected. Okay. So if I have built a bunch of street sweepers, where I have a fleet of street sweepers. We have a per asset charge. At a certain volume, just like everything else, people come to us and they say, we need volume pricing and discounting, just like you do in manufacturing. And then when we deal with the large enterprises, it's really an enterprise SaaS contract that typically multiple years, and they want some type of additional support put in there. Right?
Okay.
They're going to want X amount of hours per month with our engineering team or our support team or whatever that case may be.
So, kind of going back to the technical again, and, and I wanted to address, the cost, because sometimes I think that makes people hesitate. Like, wow,
Sure.
man, I'm running on thin margins, and
Absolutely.
I'm concerned about the cost, but I saw the 4 case studies you've got on your website.
Yeah.
Those were significant savings.
Absolutely.
And of course, I expect you to showcase, you're a salesman in a way, right?
Yeah.
And so I expect you to show me your best stuff, but those cases were kind of very significant savings.
And we have new ones coming actually a lot larger now. And what's interesting is, for us, we are a small company, so we cannot get tied in with science projects. So when we talk about like the IoT 1.0, right?
Yeah.
It was like one system that was going to solve everyone's problem, and they turned into science projects, and they didn't really go anywhere. So what we really work with our customers and our partners on is, what are these value buckets you're driving? What's the ROI? And we need to measure it and pilot. And because if you don't show an ROI where they're actually putting dollars to their P&L statement, positive dollars, they're not going to add cost into an industry that we typically have very small margins on, right? The industrial industry
they're running on thin margin.
It's a thin margin. So our biggest success is the aftermarket parts and services.
Oh.
A lot of our customers, typically in the industry, are doing about 4 to 5% of total sales coming from the parts and service business. Okay. When we work with them, we put together a plan and a strategy using technology and the business outcomes and their team to get that up to a 10%.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it's not really hard, right? It's like getting visibility into their fleet for the first time. And so that comes with commitment on their side, right? They're going to put a business unit in place. They're going to at least have someone that's going to drive this initiative. Maybe it's not, her or his full-time job, but there is going to be somebody there that's saying, we're going to drive an IoT strategy. We're going to drive aftermarket parts and services from it. We're going to increase productivity, and they're owning it. And then at the same point, that it's really being driven by an executive long-term vision, because we know that their payoff, they'll see ROI in the first 12 months, but they'll really see ROI in years 3 through 5 when they're getting ongoing part sales.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need that. You need both the tie-in from the team that has P&L ownership to it, but also the vision, and say, we're going to transform our company and become a digital company.
I'm guessing Rich Rogers.
Absolutely.
I just got to mention him and Zameldo in this video. He inspires me almost every day on social media, and you do too. I get so much from your, following you on LinkedIn. And I think everybody should follow you on LinkedIn. But he was mentioning that, Amazon had, started small, and anybody who would have looked at them and just looked at their current state or their history could have never imagined what that would be today, right? And you're kind of saying the same thing. I think there's a visionary component to what your customers have to look at.
Absolutely, right. And so Rich is our acting COO.
Oh, okay.
So he's an advisor with us. A lot of our team actually used to work with Rich at Hitachi before it's So we go back and forth. But we always are looking at stuff and looking at the markets and use cases. And what's interesting about the Pacific Northwest and camps and Zamelgo and Elevate is sometimes we'll go in as an Elevate opportunity, and then we'll go, okay, the customer wanted to talk IoT, but this isn't really Elevate. This is actually maybe more Zamelgo.
Oh, wow.
Or this is another company, because
I see.
Because in the 1.0 of IoT area, it was, again, one platform could solve anything. And the 2.0 is, what's the business problems we're trying to solve, and technology is just a feature.
Yep.
So you do, to Rich's point, you have to have visionary buy-in at a leadership level to do a digital transformation, because there is going to be an investment made either in cash, time, or both for that initial 12 months. You're going to start to see ROI in that 12 months, but you're really changing your company.
It compounds.
It compounds.
Yeah.
So in the parts and service business for our customers, they typically, on a new machine that gets sold, it's about 25% gross margin, roughly, industry standard. parts and services 50% to 60%. So not only are they getting an increase in their top line sales, they're also increasing really good revenue chunks.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to swallow that frog, right? You have to really start to change the way you're going to do business. And that's where we look for.
You know, you were cheating and looking at my background, right? With
right.
Industry 1.0
That's
and Industry 2.0.
Yeah.
But no, you know, I really liked your point about, you know, Industry 1.0 was about the technology and how cool is that?
Yeah.
But Industry 2.0.
Yeah. So when we started this inside of Western Integrated Technologies 5 years ago, and we would go to customers, they would want to know what cloud provider you're on and your security and all these things that they're reading in articles. Now it's like, it's a checkbox. Send us over your security documentation. No big deal. We don't care what cloud you're on. We don't care about the technology. All they want to know is, what's the business solution you're providing me? And then they figure, and then, you know, that's going to get solved. Like, they're not scared of technology anymore.
Wow, that's cool.
I personally think that's going to come for two major reasons. One are the two major players in our backyard, right? Azure and AWS. They've done a tremendous amount of raising that C level.
Oh, absolutely.
Technology's got better. It's easier to plug and play. The other one, in the industrial space, we didn't used to use Microsoft 360, right? We didn't use cloud apps a lot. And a lot of industrial companies have gone to cloud business solutions.
It's something they're familiar with.
Right? So it's no longer something that was really scary from 5 years ago. It's like, whoa, wait, what's going on? You're sending my data to the cloud? Hold on. Now, oh, you're providing me this business solution. It lives in the cloud subscription, so we get it.
Yeah, isn't that great? Now, I want to talk about some Star Trek / Star Wars kind of futuristic language, but maybe you can simplify it for us. But you talk about the digital twin asset model.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty Star Trek to me.
Yeah, for sure. So so definitely, like, you know, if you're watching the Masters, you're watching sporting events, you see a lot of stuff from the really big software players. They're talking about AI and all this crazy stuff. When we look at a digital twin, it's really a digital representation of the physical machine in the field.
But that's pretty cool, though.
It is really cool. And so for Elevate, for us to drive those business outcomes, we actually have to get a digital model of it, right? So our customers tell us what type of machine they're using, where the sensors are located, what type of engine information, what their pressures and flows are. So we're gathering that for them. Just the other week, we had a customer that had pumps not performing correctly out in the field.
Okay.
The OEM, machine builder, the operator, and the distributor that sold them these pumps were all on email chains using Elevate data to go back and look at their asset model, look at their history of it, and understand why these pumps on these machines weren't performing. So now what it's allowed them to do is being able not just take the information that they're getting, but compare it to what's the digital state and the physical state, and start to run analysis before they start working with a pump, you know, supplier.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. And it's so simple, right? Cool. Yeah, we're powering in the background, but they're looking at the information that drives their business.
Yeah.
They don't even care about all the stuff that we're doing. You know, we have this cool term and does this stuff. Yeah, they're solving a real business problem, and they're cloud. And in that normal case, without IoT, this customer would have to bring that machine back from Northern Canada. It would come back to the Pacific Northwest. They would take that pump off. They'd run it into repair services. They'd try to find it. They do an RMA, send it back to the supplier, get 12, 14-week lead time. They're able to identify what root causes could be today and start looking at that now, shaving off tremendous amount of time.
Yeah.
So in a normal operating scenario, it's a big deal. In a COVID scenario, it's huge, because how do you get people from here up to Canada in any timely manner?
That's huge.
It's been pretty cool. Yeah.
My goodness.
To see it real time play out.
Oh, now something, because you're very conversant on the P&L, you know, and the, you know, percentages, and this costs this, and this is a percentage of revenue. But I'm sensing that there's a lot of ROI that maybe even can't be measured directly on the P&L.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that story that you just gave. I mean, is
that story. We have countless stories where customers have dialed into their machines. You know, we have machines in Japan and New Zealand and Europe, and they're able to dial in and run remote service technician work. It's also helping them redesign their machines. So with Western Integrated, another WIT case, since they're CAMP's member, we worked with a customer that built a particular machine and they put Elevate on it. Now this Elevate's not, it's funny, it's not hitting any of the use cases that we've spoken about, right? They put this on, and what they realized is they had an oversized engine.
Yeah.
And their engine was not using nearly the amount of horsepower that they thought that it would need as they started looking at these machines in the field. In the last 2 years, this customer has done a complete redesign.
Wow.
They've reduced that engine by 40%. They've actually created a hybrid option for it. They get electrification in a diesel-powered engine. They're getting a better finish or better productivity on the machine they're building. And it all came from looking at how the machine was actually being operated in the field. And it led to real changes in their design. And so that's something that we can't measure,
No.
right, on the effect it's having. It's not something that we'd measure on our own revenue growth. That's not the customer we're after. But we definitely forecast that as our customers get more machine data through Elevate, they're going to start to look at how can we redesign the machines better over time? How can we make them more efficient? How can we make them software upgrades like a Tesla model? And we won't be able to capture that value, that ROI, but it's going to be significant.
Well, I was having a conversation with Ben Marsh of Scout Systems.
Yeah.
You know, they play in your space.
Yep.
But he brought up this idea in our conversation that your technology and his technology put the problems front and center, maybe in a new way.
Absolutely.
You know, and
they put them in front and center, and they allow for collaboration.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you have a digital collaboration that happens where you can get all different people inside the ecosystem looking at the problem, you know, and at a faster response time.
Yeah. That's all. It's just amazing, actually, what it does.
It's pretty cool.
So I want to wind up with just a couple more questions here. And this has been a fantastic interview. And I feel like we could go on and on forever, but you know, you're working across several industries. You're, you know, heavy machinery, mining, municipality, oil, gas industries. You're everywhere. Where have you seen the most adoption, and you know, which industry seems to be jumping on board?
Yeah. So the reason we're across these multiple industries is we've partnered with fluid power distributors all across North America.
Oh, okay.
So we have 14 distributors, integrators throughout North America, and then a couple big supply companies. So they're out there working with their customers. The biggest adoption that we've seen has been in forestry. A lot of the forestry industry has been out there. Material handling, a lot of the stuff that's moving the freights and stuff at the shipyards or in the forestry industry. Refuse and construction.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a really cool, I can't talk about it here because it's going to be releasing shortly, but we have a really cool application in the refuse industry releasing at Waste Expo. They just about ready to go into production. It's going to revolutionize the waste industry. Actually, it's really cool. And then the construction. I mean, a lot of, from graders to pile drivers to sweepers to mixing trucks. The construction industry is looking for that digital job site, and they're really trying to get information to improve the health of the machines, the safety of the workers, the productivity, and so forth. And that seems to be taken off. Listen,
if you're listening to this, you know, to this video right now, and you're hearing all the things Adam is saying, I highly recommend giving him a call. I mean, this has been, this might be a lot further ahead than a lot of other people have even imagined we've gone in terms of technology and what it can do.
Absolutely. And I think the takeaway I would say is companies like Zemelgo, companies like Elevate, what we really try to focus on is making it very easy to deploy the solution and try to hone in on the business problems. Because you can go and, I mean, here's the trouble with IoT. You can go in a million different ways and talk about all this great stuff, but if you gotta solve that business problem. And I think that companies like Zemelgo, like Elevate, are partners out there that are doing this. They're really putting the power of the technology in the domain experts' hands, and they're making that technology disappear in the background. And so to get stuff implemented and up to speed and delivering, I mean, it's literally, you're up and going in an afternoon, not in weeks or months or quarters.
Well, you've nearly answered my very last question, and that is your vision of this journey, digital journey that you're on. Just like, where are we going? What do you see coming up next?
Yeah, for us, we so, you know, doing the utilization of the machines and doing the aftermarket parts and service, where we see it as a company is we're going to really be able to optimize the supply chain. we think there's a lot of waste in the supply chain, and it really hurts U.S. manufacturers. So if we
Makes
can
sense.
really start to provide information and collaboration in that supply chain, I think U.S. manufacturer will become faster, stronger, more agile, more innovative. It'll help out everyone. So right now we're setting the foundation of utilization of machines, maintenance, and parts and service. But pretty soon that's going to start to move up the supply chain and make everyone a lot more competitive.
Well, especially in this post-COVID world, hopefully soon. We're in the middle of the post-COVID world right now, but hopefully post-COVID world, there will be reshoring. There's going to be a look
Absolutely.
at how do we strengthen those supply chains. And
yeah, it's going to be reshoring, and then I do think we're going to have infrastructure, deals passed here, and I think that's going to be huge in our industry, in the construction industry, and
yes,
the supply chains are going to be flexed. And I think, if you're able to help, manufacturers and distributors reduce the amount of inventory they're carrying or increase the amount of turns based on visibility they can get downstream, that's going to make us all a lot more competitive.
Well, I want to thank you for today. This was an amazing conversation. I loved it. And I want to thank you for representing. I think you represent a team of people, and Rich and the Zemelgo team represent this pioneers in this space, but you're approaching it so intelligently and smartly, and thinking through the business case and how it makes sense to companies. And it's not just, here's some technology, it's pretty cool, you should do it, but it's really, this will affect your bottom line. And I applaud you, and I thank you for being a part of our manufacturing community, because you've enriched it so much.
Well, thank you. And we love the manufacturing community. We love the Pacific Northwest. We love what CAMPS does. So thank you for having us on.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to sharing this.
Me too.
Take care.